What's up, guys? It's Toad back with you again for the evening variety, the evening edition of Wednesday, March 12th, Championship Week college basketball. Although I'm really here to talk about NHL and NBA just to get that done because I did all college basketball this morning. So, again, if you want my college basketball analysis, go check it out this morning. Although two of my plays are already done, they're going to have gone 1-1, and they should have been 2-0. Arkansas minus 4.5. I mean, give me a break, dude. Of course, I didn't get the best number, and if I'd gotten a better number, I know I could have pushed or won the bet. Yeah, I mean, there might have been fours out there, but they were like heavy juice. So I was like, fuck it, 4.5 is what it's going to be. And Calipari, I mean, this guy, I think he owes me money at this point. I mean, I don't know how your team could be this undisciplined. If you watch the game, there's no way that Arkansas shouldn't have covered that. They dominated most of the game. They were winning the game by, I think, 19 points in the middle of the second half. And then they went on a 10-minute stretch between, like, I think 14 minutes left and 4 minutes left. They went on a 10-minute stretch where they only scored 2 points. And I think they got outscored, I don't know, like 22-4, 22-3 over some span. So all of a sudden, a 19-point lead became a 1-point lead. Like, just give me a break, man. And then even after that, you think, okay, well, final couple of minutes, we're going to get some intentional fouls here. Maybe they're still going to cover this. They should. No, that didn't happen either. Every time they got free throws, South Carolina came right back and scored again. I think Arkansas might have missed the front end of one of the 1-1 as well. I don't know. I wasn't totally watching every single play at that point because doing work at the same time. And then I know that Calipari, because he said it in a press conference, the last free throw when they were attempting a free throw to go back up 4. So this mattered, especially for people that laid 4 on this, or like 3.5 if they ever got that number out there. Calipari instructed his player to miss the last free throw, up 3 with 3 seconds left, which would have given South Carolina the chance to take a game-winning shot attempt. Whereas if you go up 4, that makes it a 2-possession game, and the game is pretty much over. So why would that ever happen? He was asked in the post-game press conference, and he was like, I do unconventional things. What? This guy is losing his mind, man. I mean, there's no reason for that. So, of course, even though he was supposed to intentionally miss the free throw, and it looked like he tried to, he actually made it anyway. And they won by 4. And, of course, my cover had no chance at that point anyway. And missed by a half point. Should never even come to that at all, with Arkansas blowing out South Carolina most of that game. I think my handicap was right. I don't know how they could have gone that long with basically not even scoring. Just absolutely ridiculous. Texas, however, I have the game on here. I think that is going to be a win, which I wound up getting it at 2.5, by the way. I gave it out a 2+2 on the show this morning, and it was 2.5 shortly after that, and it actually went up to 3, which I think Texas was public, and there were Vandy was public, and there were some, I guess, professional bettors coming in on Vandy as well, so the line went up, and I'm like, I didn't really get it because it seemed like less of the actual money than the tickets were on, and I think Texas did get that one done. Anyway, well, we can see it here, actually, because I'm talking about it right now. I have NBA up right now, but where is Texas at here? Yeah, so the line went up to 3 with juice on Vandy, except they had more of the tickets than the cash. Whatever you want. Texas wound up winning that game by 7. They were way, way ahead throughout most of that game, and they didn't blow it, unlike Arkansas. But, of course, Texas was an underdog, but they still would have covered as a favorite of the same variety as Arkansas. Arkansas wanted with more of the tickets than the cash. Still think it was the right side. I think that was bullshit, and the next slate of games are tipping off right now, and if you want my last play, the line has kind of gotten away from us a little bit, but I am on Georgetown minus 3.5. Go see my analysis for all these plays and why I made these plays. Go look at my morning video. Georgetown up from 3.5 to 5 now, but 78% of the tickets, 74% of the cash, so less of the cash than the tickets again. It's starting to look like that Arkansas play, and hopefully that is not what it is. At the very least, I'm getting a better number than where it's going to close, I think. So that's what we got going on there. I broke down basically every single one of these games this morning. I kind of rushed the end of it a little bit, but you can go check out on my morning video. Some of the market reads have definitely changed since then. Like, a lot of times I'll watch the market throughout the day, so sometimes my opinions, the ones that I'm not betting, my opinions could definitely change a bit. As far as my like actual bets, like those are still going to be bets for me. It's just that I might be like waiting to try to get a better number. So that might be the case. One thing I forgot to mention, by the way, with Cal and Stanford. Cal went into double overtime yesterday, but I totally forgot that. And I forgot when I talked about Cal's game yesterday, which they got to be really getting tired. So I did lean to them yesterday, and they did wind up winning in double overtime. I think I'll get somebody revving their engine outside. I hate being this close to the street. Like, get the fuck away, man. Like, there should be like a noise ordinance. These people should be arrested. I don't even care at this point. Stop making noise in our neighborhood. There are children in this neighborhood as well. Like, just stop it. All right. Anyway, and sometimes it happens like in the middle of the night too. Like, get fucked. All right. Cal, though, yeah, I liked them last night. One thing I forgot to mention is that on Saturday, Cal actually went into 4 overtimes in their final regular season game, which was at, I forget where it was. They were somewhere in the middle of the country, I think. I don't remember who they were playing. It was a road game, I'm pretty sure, for Cal. I forget where it was. It was Notre Dame, I think. They went to 4 overtimes, I think, and Notre Dame actually won their first game as well, and, of course, lost to North Carolina, which was expected, in my opinion, today. So North Carolina was up to a 10.5-point favorite anyway, so the dream is still alive. Maybe they can make a run in this thing, but they're probably going to have to beat Duke to actually make the tournament, because I don't think they're going to if that doesn't happen. Anyway, Cal has got to be really, really tired at this point, having played 6 overtimes in the last 3 or 4 days. I mean, that's crazy. Stanford is the better of the two teams anyway. Just thought I would mention that because I didn't mention it this morning. Let's look at NHL. Only 4 games here, and honestly, I don't think any of them are particularly interesting. I don't even know if I really want to talk about any of these games in the NHL, to be honest. I mean, there's really not a whole lot going on. I mean, Detroit does have playoff implications. I believe they played yesterday. They lost to Ottawa. Let me see. Was that yesterday? I don't even remember. My mind is so out of it now. That was 2 days ago. And now they're returning home, but only from a 2-game road trip. They get Buffalo, and then Carolina up next. But I think the fact that they've lost a couple of these games here, probably they should be focused. And Buffalo's coming off a big win over Edmonton. That was a win for me, baby. I had that a couple nights ago. Buffalo with the huge upset. That was a big game for Buffalo. And Buffalo not going anywhere. So probably Buffalo would be in a letdown spot here. And Detroit needs the game more because they're still fighting for a playoff spot. Buffalo's basically done. So lean to Detroit in that one, up from minus 130 to minus 154, though. 82% of tickets, 86% of the cash coming in on them. Calgary, I believe, is returning home for a road trip. No, they already returned home from a road trip, excuse me. And they actually won that game against Montreal, even though they're returning home from a road trip there. That was a bad spot for them. I think I actually was on Montreal in that game, and Montreal couldn't even score, and they lost. But now Calgary actually got that win. Now they've had multiple days off, so they have a rest advantage and a travel advantage, really, because now they're settled in at home. Although the one, I guess, concern maybe with Calgary is that maybe they focused on that game, got the win, and then focused on getting stuff done at home after that. So maybe the return home spot distraction comes into play here. But with Vancouver coming into their place, probably not. And Vancouver is on a back-to-back. They played yesterday against Montreal, who Calgary did just beat. Vancouver just lost to Montreal. But I don't think the public is going to come in and look at this and think, oh, Vancouver lost to Montreal, Calgary beat them. I want to take Calgary. I don't think that's what they're going to do here. Even though Calgary does actually have the better record, which is crazy because I keep telling you, Calgary isn't as good as their record would make them look, but Calgary's up from minus 120 to minus 150. They are public, 81% of tickets, but it looks like the money agrees with it. I actually agree with it as well. 83% of the cash on them. I was about to say I agree with the Calgary side in this one because of all the stuff I just said. I mean, really, they just have a huge rest advantage and a slight travel advantage as well, so that's the way I lean there. Montreal still fighting for a playoff spot as well. They're coming off that win over Vancouver that I just mentioned. A big win for them, and now they're playing, I think, 3 games in 4 days, all in different cities, and on a back-to-back. Not 3 games in 4 days, excuse me, 3 games in 5 days, but they are on a back-to-back. Playing a bunch of games in a row on the road. May see them get a little bit tired, and they do have Florida up next, which is a bigger game. I think the fact that this is a Western Conference game might make it mean a little bit less to Montreal. Seattle coming off a loss to Washington, but the problem here is that Seattle is returning home from a road trip. So I don't think it's a good spot for either team. Seattle's had 2 days off, but when you do that, when you have 2 days off, sometimes you get more like settled back in. They've been on the road only for a 3-game road trip, but it did take them all the way to the East Coast, or essentially Philadelphia and Washington. So distance-wise, it took them quite a ways. So they may not be totally focused here. I really don't love the spot for Seattle there. Seattle down from -140 to -138, but they do have 67% of the cash coming in on them, 51% of the tickets on Montreal. I don't like the spot that either team is in, man. So it's kind of like pick your poison in that one. I just don't want to deal with it. So that's the NHL card today. NBA, we have a bigger card today. We got Celtics and Thunder, the huge game of the day right here, man. People saying this is going to be a finals preview. This is on ESPN. Huge game here for both teams. Celtics down from -4 to -3 here. So Celtics, I mean, they're still the favorite. They are at home. So odds makers are telling you they're like the very slightly better team. I think they probably get 2.5 maybe for home court because their home court maybe a little bit stronger than most. You don't get a lot of home court in the NBA, though. 67% of tickets, 69% of the cash. So the cash percentage coming in on the Celtics, even though the line has dropped a little bit. Got to pay attention to the personnel here, too, because Celtics have been dealing with some injuries. Porzingis has been out. It looks like he's still going to miss this game. But, of course, we know the Celtics basically won the final without Porzingis. He was out for the majority of that playoff run that the Celtics, the majority of the championship run. He played early in the playoffs, got knocked out, had a leg injury, and then he came back, I think, for the first game, or I was at that game against Dallas in the finals, game 1, and then he got hurt again. So that's what's going on there. He's not going to play. It looks like Caruso is out for Oklahoma City. Jalen Williams also out for Oklahoma City. So they have a couple of somewhat key injuries as well. So I think it all kind of balances out. You still basically get a situation where the Celtics are the better team. They're coming off a close call against Utah, man, which was definitely expected because that was a sandwich spot. I mentioned it on my show. I just didn't really, I don't trust Utah, so I didn't really trust them, but Celtics rested a lot of their guys, and it was just a game where the Celtics really just went through the motions, and they still won the game, but they did not cover, obviously. So it was a game where they just kind of sleepwalked through it, basically. So not a great margin of victory there for the Celtics. Continues their momentum, though, so I think that's fine. I think that means you are going to see a more focused Celtics here. That was a sandwich spot, like I said, between that big win over the Lakers and this game against the Thunder. When the Celtics show up, they give you a good effort when they show up, man. The concern is when they don't show up. Oklahoma City, yeah, they're coming off an ugly loss to Denver, but they were on a big win streak, man. They'd won, 7 games in a row, something like that, and then finally took a loss to Denver, which that was a revenge spot for Denver. I talked about that on my show. It was that quick zigzag spot where Oklahoma City had won the first game, and I said Denver's probably going to make adjustments here, man, and they did. But the fact that knocked Oklahoma City, even though it was kind of an ugly loss, it was to a good team, and it ended Oklahoma City's win streak. And now they have to go out on the road. And yeah, usually you're going to be focused when you go out on the road. You know they're going to be focused because they're playing the Celtics. It's a big game, but I would lean to the Celtics in this game, man. The Celtics don't have travel. They're coming off an easier game. They're not coming off of having their win streak ended. They're still in the middle of their win streak, which I think helps momentum-wise. So I would lean to the Celtics. I'm not playing this game. And then Oklahoma City beat Boston at home by double digits the other time they played them. So I think that's the only time they played them. So this is actually in-season revenge for the Celtics. So maybe a little bit of an extra motivator there for the Celtics. A lot of these games I just don't really care about, man. Phoenix is at Houston. You got to just watch, see if Van Vliet is coming back. I don't even know if he has come back yet. Looks like he's a game-time decision tonight. Has he come back at all? I don't even know. I haven't really been paying attention, man. He's listed as probable, so he is coming back. Let me see. He's been out since March 1st, so Van Vliet, he actually only played that one game, and it looks like he got hurt again. So he's coming back, so it is a little bit of a reverse injured player spot for Houston, especially it can really kind of throw you off a little bit when your point guard comes back because you got to, he's got to get back into his, flow again. Your team has to get the chemistry back up. So it's a little bit of a disruptor, man, when you're a star player like that, a point guard comes back. So that's a little bit of a negative, in my opinion, for Houston. And what that's going to do is drive the line up on Houston. Houston's up from 4 to 4.5, which seems like a low line, though, for Houston, who's a really good home team at home against this struggling Suns team. 77% of tickets, only 75% of the cash. So Houston is public with less of the cash on them. I got to lean to the Suns here, man. Even though Houston is a good home team, the Suns are playing a fourth straight road game, which is difficult. They're coming off. They're playing a third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, all in different cities. Very difficult. They took Denver into overtime. I faded them in the game after that, and they just barely beat me. I lost that by about 1 point in that game against Dallas. And then they turn around, playing another tough game against Memphis. But it's not like they're going to be unfocused playing against Houston, man. Phoenix getting points, I mean, it's better than laying points. That's the case with really anybody. But, you're getting points with Phoenix. They're better in the underdog role. And then Houston, they're coming off an easy win over Orlando here. So they're actually kind of stepping up in class here to face Phoenix here, man, after facing New Orleans and Orlando. So I don't know, man. I mean, the rest spot is definitely worse for Phoenix, though. But with Van Vliet coming back, kind of that reverse injured player spot, the market read kind of looks like it's against the Rockets a little bit. Kind of would have to agree with that and lean that way. And then we do have Dallas San Antonio, I think, is a zigzag spot where San Antonio lost the first game as 6.5-point favorites. Dallas pulled off the upset. These are two injured teams, man, that probably know they're not going anywhere now. Playing for the lottery at this point, man, although Dallas's record is kind of too good to get a good draft pick, and now they're without Irving and AD here. Kyrie and AD both gone. Just brutal, absolutely brutal. And Luka, of course, gone. Dallas pulled off that win yesterday, though, so I think it's kind of the zigzag spot where you'd want to look to San Antonio or pass the game. Dallas does have Houston up next, too, which is probably a bigger game for them. San Antonio, a little bit of a lower spread this time. 6.5 in the last game. It's 6, up to 6 with a little bit of juice. But 74% of tickets and only 63% of the cash on them. So the cash percentage kind of against them. But it would be Spurs or pass for me, man. I would lean to the zigzag there. And then my actual play that I got here is the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's either plus 3.5 or I think it might be plus 4. Now, let me see. Where's this line at? It looks like you can only get 3 now maybe on this. I think it was 4 a little while ago, 3.5. 3.5 might still be out there. I really wasn't sure where this number was going to go, so I waited it out a little bit. I think I am on 3.5 in this one, though. The Nuggets down from 6 to 3 now. 79% of tickets, only 75% of the cash. So a lot of the market indicators all indicating on the T-Wolves. The Nuggets down more on the line here. The question was, like, are these guys not going to play for the Nuggets? Jokic especially. And I was thinking that the line was kind of indicating that you were going to be looking at a Jokic-less Nuggets team here, because there's no way the Nuggets would only be a 3-point favorite at home against the T-Wolves if Jokic was in there. And 79% of the tickets, though, public seems to not be dissuaded. They want to come in on the Nuggets. We only got 75% of the cash on the Nuggets, though. I like the T-Wolves here, even if Jokic is indeed out, which he's a game-time decision. What does it say? It says he's probable, so he's playing. So very, very strange, because the line makes it look like he's not playing, which makes it look even easier to take the Nuggets. But I think this is a really bad spot for the Nuggets here, man. So Jokic is going to play. He's been playing. He's played a lot of minutes here, 40-plus minutes, multiple games in a row. I mean, that's par for the course for him, but that's even a little bit higher than usual, because I think one of those games was an overtime game, right? I forget. Maybe it wasn't. The Utah one, I think, was. So Jokic has been playing a lot of minutes, though. And then Gordon, I don't know if he's playing or not. He's doubtful, so he's out. So that might be factoring into the line a little bit. Gordon is not going to affect the line by 3, but whatever the case may be, I just think the spot is terrible for Denver. This is the other ESPN game because it's Minnesota-Denver. I mean, it's a Western Conference playoff preview, potentially. Denver, and this is also, I believe, these teams played last year, right? Let me see here. They did, I think. Let me see. Regular season? No, I want postseason. I got to refresh my memory, man, because I always forget. Yeah, so Minnesota beat Denver in 7 games last year, right? And then Dallas knocked out Minnesota. Yeah, so Denver's always, I think, going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder this year, man, against Minnesota. They're going to be looking for, finals revenge. Oh, and by the way, Denver still hasn't gotten it yet. So I guess Denver. So these are reasons to take Denver, and I'm fading Denver here. So Denver is looking for revenge. They still haven't gotten it, but I'm going to fade them anyway, man, because look at what Denver's coming off of. Even though, yeah, Minnesota's going to be a big game for them, but they're coming off back-to-back games against Oklahoma City. They're now playing a third game in 4 days, even though 2 were in the same city, Oklahoma City. Now they're returning home back into elevation, so it's kind of a return home spot. Not really from a long road trip or anything, but coming off beating Oklahoma City in the zigzag, that was a huge win for them as 9.5-point underdogs at Oklahoma City. Big win for Denver. The game was close for most of it, so Denver pulled away late. So the game wasn't as much of a large margin of victory there as the final score maybe makes it look. Denver was not winning by that much for most of the game. And then they got the LA Lakers up next, man. You know that's going to be a big game, even though, yeah, Minnesota is revenge, but Minnesota has not been doing that well this year, even though their record's decent. It's not as good as Denver's. I know Denver's been really good at home. Minnesota has been okay on the road, but I just think the spot is really ugly for Denver here. I think it's a letdown spot. I think the revenge is going to take a backseat to it being sandwiched in between 2 bigger games. It's crazy the Minnesota T-Wolves would be your opponent in a sandwich spot, but I think that's good for us because we're getting a good team playing against a team in a sandwich spot. Usually a sandwich spot, you're playing on some ugly team because usually it's sandwiched in between 2 bigger opponents, and this is sandwiched in between 2 bigger opponents, but those opponents just happen to be basically who are the teams that are considered to be the top 2 teams in the Western Conference here in Oklahoma City and LA. So that's what we got going on here. Minnesota does have momentum. They have multiple days off, so they have a better rest spot here. They are traveling to Denver for just this one game, so they're having to travel into elevation, but it's a little bit less of a travel spot for them, I think, in my opinion, because they've had an extra day off in there. They do have momentum. I don't really think the travel is going to kill that momentum. It's a big game for them. They're going to be focused, even though it is revenge. For Denver, you're always going to be focused for Denver, man. So for all those reasons, yeah, I'm gonna take the points with Minnesota here. Their only injury concern is Gobert, but I mean that's kind of always the case. He's always on the injury report. Is he playing? Who knows? He's questionable. He probably will go. Even if he doesn't, I actually don't think that's that big a deal. I'm gonna be on the Minnesota T-Wolves. That's my one NBA play of the day, and that's gonna do it for me, man. Charles, what's up, man? A revenge sandwich. Well, it's not a revenge sandwich though because it's revenge for the team that I'm going against. So I would like it better if it was revenge for Minnesota, but it isn't. But I like the sandwich spot anyway. Yeah, that would be a hot sandwich between Margot Robbie and Sydney Sweeney. Yeah, that's in the hot sandwich line, man. That's gonna do it for me, man. Charles, thanks for hanging out. Go check out my morning video for my college basketball analysis, even though we only have 1 play left and I'm 1-1 today. And even though Texas hit on the money line, I think I'm still probably slightly down for the day, but whatever. I mean, I want to go at least 1-1 in these last 2 plays, so hopefully it happens. Let's just keep chugging, man. I want to win, obviously. I want to go 2-0, but let's just keep chugging. That's going to do it for me. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter, of course, and the Tower Gang podcast tonight, 9:11 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have no voice, man. I'm doing this show constantly. I'm screaming. I'm losing my mind at Arkansas, at Calipari. What can I do, man? I'm not going to do any uke videos again for a while. My voice is dead. It had come back for a while, and now it's fucked. Tower Gang, baby. 9:11 p.m. Eastern. Patreon.com/Tower Gang to support us, and you get extra content. You'll get the long episode, the second half of the episode tonight, or if you want to call it the post show still. You get the pre-show. You get hang out with us in a Telegram. Get to hang out with us in a Telegram. Get to submit mailbags. Then that's about it. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter. Let's do it. Peace.